How can I stop feeling so alone? Loneliness is not a condition of helplessness. There are steps you can take to combat feelings of loneliness and start having more meaningful social connections in your life. Challenge your inner critic. The most common negative thought people can have about themselves is that they are different from other people. These self-limiting beliefs can keep you stuck in a cycle of loneliness. Your critical inner voices are trying to keep you from challenging yourself to step out of your comfort zone, so they stab you in the back to avoid taking action. When you feel these personal attacks, it is essential that you do not allow them to manipulate your behavior. Acknowledge your feelings of loneliness and isolation without judgment by telling yourself, "I feel lonely right now, but I'm not going to give in to my critical inner voice and scold myself." Instead, you can learn to challenge your inner critic. Practice self-compassion. Self-compassion is the radical act of treating yourself with the same kindness as you would treat a friend. Self-compassion leads to greater emotional resilience, more accurate self-concepts, and more thoughtful relationships and behaviors. Self-compassion involves three main elements. Let's analyze these elements in relation to the fight against loneliness. Self-kindness versus self-judgment. Self-compassion involves being kind and understanding ourselves when we are hurting, failing, or feeling inadequate, rather than ignoring our pain or flailing around with self-criticism. When we feel isolated or alone, we can choose to have compassion for ourselves. We can acknowledge our emotions without judging them, perhaps telling ourselves, "I'm really sick right now." Denying the reality of our pain only leads to more suffering and frustration. When this reality is accepted with sympathy and kindness, greater emotional equanimity is felt. When we accept where we are and what we are fighting against, without blaming ourselves, then we can begin to change. Awareness versus over-identification with thoughts. Compassion also requires a balanced approach to our negative emotions so that feelings are not repressed or exaggerated. You can observe your negative thoughts without accepting them as truth or allowing them to dictate your actions. Awareness teaches us not to over-identify feelings with thoughts, in order to be captured and swept away by negative reactivity. If you feel lonely, pay attention to the labels: you are not lonely, a loser, a recluse, a bad at making friends. Common humanity against isolation. Even when you feel isolated from others, you can begin to recognize your common humanity. All human beings suffer. All humans are wired for social connection and will feel pain when they feel emotionally isolated from others. The very definition of being human means that one is mortal, vulnerable and imperfect. Therefore, self-compassion involves the recognition that suffering and personal inadequacy are part of shared human experience, something we all go through rather than something that only happens to me. Even if you feel alone, it is important to recognize that you are not alone in this pain. Just watch the comments section below. The world is full of lonely people. Discover the many benefits of self-compassion. Take action to free yourself from isolation. Make a plan and start taking action to free yourself from isolation. Ask yourself the following questions. When do I feel most alone? When do I feel least alone? What activities do I like the most? Is there someone I feel good with? List their names. Now think of concrete ways to answer these questions. How can you feel less alone in these lonely times? Can you reach out to a friend? Join an online chat community. Find a healthy way to distract yourself from loneliness, such as solitude, exercise, meditation, or even temporarily playing a distracting video game. Why do you think you feel less alone at times? How to amplify these positive moments. For example, if you feel good at work, maybe you could spend more time with coworkers or find hobbies like volunteering that build on similar skills that you like to share at work. Are the activities you enjoy social? If so, how can you participate more in these activities? If the activities are isolated, how can you connect with other people who enjoy these activities?